There we go. So I would like to officially welcome everybody to Chapter 4 and 5 of Eric Worre's book study. We're going to talk about finding prospects, and then the Chapter 5 talks about the invitation, inviting prospects to see what you've got. So I guess, Flora, this is your first time in this book study. Have you met Eva yet?
No, I have not. I saw the recorded call. So hi.
She joined my team the 15th of last month. And
oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's rocking it so far. And she's going to convention as of today.
Congratulations.
Yay. So, last week we kind of talked about why we wanted to do this book study. Flora, can you just give us a little bit about who you are and why you decided that you wanted to do this book study?
I'm Flor, and I started with Plexus, I think 9 months ago in August. And I wanted to be in this study because I really want to grow my business and be, the first few chapters, he talks about a poser and how we want to get lucky. And I knew from the beginning that it was going to take some work, but I just didn't know how to go about it. And I guess that's why it took me 8 months to get to silver. And I think that it's going to help me a lot. I'm learning a lot on how to reach out to people with this book.
I feel the same way. I was saying last week I wish I would have had this sooner in my business. So, Eva, you're super lucky.
Yeah.
I'll be you.
So for the first thing that it talks about is 80% of people who join network marketing hope they get lucky versus treating it as a career. And we did talk a little bit about that last week, the poser thing that Flora mentioned. And I think I kind of had that mentality when I came into it just because of my lack of belief. But as I went, I very quickly decided that it was something that could really help me and be a career for me. I just didn't really know how to go about it, kind of like she was saying. And one of the hugest things that I've realized by reading this book is it's saying your job is to educate. It's not to like hunt or, it's more like she was talking about later, like the farmer mentality. So it's purely to educate people and give them knowledge about what we have. What are y'all thoughts on that so far? Like, what was that kind of an eye opener for y'all as well, or?
I thought it was pretty on target. I think most of the time I try to be that farmer, but then sometimes it's like, okay, you see a target and you want to go for it, and so I'm trying to not steer in that direction. Because sometimes I can do that. I try to hone in, and then I don't want to hone in, not get the hunt, and then not be able to move forward. So I'm
froze for a second. Awesome. I missed the last little bit of what you said.
Oh, I was just saying that I don't want to get into that hunter mode because I feel like if I did, I would lose sight of the overall picture and just get down in the dumps if I didn't get that hunt. And so I really want to make sure I stay in that farmer mentality.
Yeah.
I think that was a hard part for me because I was a sales associate before this, and we're trained to, immediately close the sale. And so that was hard for me to go from a sales representative to, I was still being a sales representative when I started Plexus. And so it was harder for me to go in from the selling mentality to a relationship mentality kind of thing, like farmers. So that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, and what really is cool is how it's saying like the professionals consider it one of their core skills is finding people to talk to. And when I first started getting into the whole mentality, I didn't know about this or would have known what to call it, and I didn't really know if it was the right direction. But I wanted to figure out new ways to meet new people, but I didn't realize that it was a core skill that I needed to. I didn't realize that's what the professionals did actually, and but I'm really glad to have this now to kind of help me know that I'm headed in the right direction, but that it's not like you meet new people and then you automatically tell them about it. You know, it's kind of like a process, and that's something that I feel like maybe at the beginning I might have scared some people away. But now it's just kind of, and we hear about it from our uplines, like Celeste is saying sometimes, she says a lot how when she meets new people, she never like pushes plexus on them. Celeste is the one that's the double diamond. She meets them and then she gets them on her Facebook page, and then she kind of builds a relationship with them. And then as it becomes, what do you call it, authentic, she'll share because they see her plexus posts and stuff like that. But I really like what he said. And I want to raise Rhea this way because it's really interesting the way that his dad's friends, his friend's dad, Harvey McKay's dad, I think that's how you say his name. It's like starting today and for the rest of your life to take every person you meet, get their info, and find a creative way to stay in touch. I thought that was really smart advice. And I'm like playing with ways to, send out birthday cards. I'm really bad about remembering to write birthday cards every month, but I'm trying to get better about it. Like sending out birthday cards to the people that I know it's their birthday that month, or some way or another staying in touch with people. What are some different ways y'all can think of to make that part of your norm?
For me, I think sometimes I try to, if I think about a person or something ends up relating to them, then I try to just send them a note to say, hey, hope you're having a good day. Just a simple drop line of not expecting a response, just keeping the connection open.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll try to do that, whether it's Facebook or a quick text message. Usually not a phone call unless it's someone that I am a lot closer with on the drive home or something, but usually a text or a Facebook message, just real quick. Hey, how's it going? I think that's kind of a way to just create the connection and continued connection.
Wow. That's one of the things that's helped me, like when when I reconnect with someone on Facebook. At first, I was just reconnecting and then hoping that they would see my post. And then I started thinking, well, maybe I should message them or post on their Facebook page like, hey, I'm so happy to reconnect with you. Like, how's life been treating you? Because I haven't seen or heard these people in like years and years. So I started doing that, and that was helpful. Or just messaging people out of the blue, like you're saying, just to kind of like, not out of the blue, but if you see something that you relate to. One of the things that I started doing several months ago and has really helped me is when I was wanting to message people, but I hadn't built that relationship yet, I would plan out the people on my list, the list we're about to get to, the people, like everybody I would plan out, okay, so this day I'm going to go make sure I comment on their Facebook posts and engage in their life. Nothing about plexus, but I would just like plan out like 5 or 6 people a day to make sure I go and interact on their Facebook page, because the more we interact with them, the more they see of our posts too. And that's also been helpful. But it's hard to find it's a little bit harder to find creative ways if it's not just on their Facebook page. But what do you think, Flor?
That's what I try to do. I try to engage them like on their pictures, and because I've noticed when I message them, they think I'm just gonna talk about Texas or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I first comment and interact with them on pictures or posts, then they'll be more open to my messages after. So that's what I have noticed.
Yeah, sometimes I just message them and don't even say anything about, like, I might have already said that. I don't even, like, I'll just say, hey, how was your birthday? And because they automatically expect me to say something about plexus, like you were saying. It kind of catches them off guard, but I don't want them to think that that's all I'm there for,
Yeah.
Because it's really not. I'm learning more about reconnection than I ever thought I would with this whole thing.
I think it's hard for me to. I think for me, it's hard to connect with high school friends that don't have kids, but I still, have them on Facebook. So I guess like going out of my comfort zone. Because for me, like, all I have is my kids all day. So
Yeah.
talking to someone that doesn't have kids is outside my, not my comfort zone, but I guess I don't really know how to connect with them. So that's what I'm having to, like, kind of learn more about, you know? I'm finding that common ground to talk to them about, I guess.
True. I think it goes the other way too. I know one of my teammates, my other teammate, sometimes it's hard for her to make connections with people who have kids. I think it just goes both ways. So one of the things that I really like is that the making a list of all the people you know. And we're not going to go through that. I'm just going to really encourage everybody to make that list. And I know y'all probably already have. But I really like the idea of the active candidate list. Like, it's never ending. It's a living, breathing document. You're always adding people to it. We meet people every day. I think he even said, like, if you met so many people a day, you'd have an exponential number. And I tried to put that in practice today. I brought Rhea after I met with you, Eva. I took I took Rhea to Safari Champ because I was about to have to go to the post office, and she had woken up because she was slumbering when we were talking. And she woke up, and I was like, okay, if I go to the post office now, she is not going to want to get back in the car because she's been sitting in here for a while. So I just took her to Safari Champ. And there was a lady there that struck up a conversation with me easily. And I was like, okay. So I kind of moved over by her so I could watch Rhea and talk to her. And we were there for like over an hour. And I was like, I am not leaving here without getting her on my Facebook, because last time I went somewhere like that, I was on the train in Zilker Park with Rhea, and I was sitting behind this lady. Our kids were the same age. I was telling Sally this the other day. We sat there for a good 30 minutes on the train together talking. She goes there once a month, and I let her walk away from me without getting her information. And it's not that I was like jumping at the, I didn't want to share Plexus with her that day or anything unless it came up naturally. But like, it was a perfect opportunity to grow my network, and I didn't get her information. I was like kicking myself. So today I was like, because she's moving here from Virginia, and they're going to be new in the area. She has a kid a little bit older than Rhea. I was like, what's your name on Facebook so you know somebody here? And so I got her information. She really is a cool person. And then I gave her our friend is a realtor, so I gave her his information because they're looking for something. So I got her phone number and her Facebook, and I got her on Facebook too. So it's like, thank goodness. So I added someone to my list today. So it's just kind of like a living, breathing thing. The more people you meet, the more people on your list. So now
I have a question.
Stay in touch with her.
I have a question. How did you ask her? Because I had a lady right now. We were at Amy's, and I really wanted to, but I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how to be like, hey, what did you tell her, or what did you?
So I waited till like towards the end of the time I waited, her kids were eating, and then it looked like eventually she was probably going to start packing up. So I kind of just waited for a little opportunity to, because we had talked about churches, we had talked about schools. She's a teacher, so we talked about like what are the good schools in the area. And so I was like, hey, what's your name on Facebook? And so, because I had forgotten her name. So that's a good way to, get their name again. And so she told me, I was like, okay, so Katie. And then I was like, how do you spell your last name again? I was like, I'll add you on Facebook so that you know somebody in the area. And she was like, oh yeah, that would be great. So I just did it like that. I just waited till there was like a pause. I don't know. I just waited till I knew her. I felt like I knew her a little bit better. It wasn't like the first 10 minutes, And then she, and I was kind of waiting till the end too, because I didn't want, sometimes when you're fumbling through your phone and after you have somebody on Facebook, you're like, oh, they're a network marketer. I didn't want her to think that was the only reason I was adding her to my Facebook. So I kind of waited till the end, till she kind of knew me a little bit better. And like, I didn't even say it once. Like, she never asked me what I did. I told her, it's obvious I was a stay-at-home mom, and she asked me what my husband did, but she never asked me what I did, so I never told her. I just kind of, like, left it. I didn't want to be pushy or anything, and so I just knew if I get her on Facebook, then eventually there might be a connection there. And it didn't come up naturally to tell her, so I didn't. I probably should have. I could have said, in hindsight, I could have said, like, I'm a work-from-home mom. But that didn't even really come up naturally, so I don't know. I probably could have done it better, but at least I got her on Facebook. Is that helpful?
Yes, but I have another question because, I'm a stay-at-home mom too. So then they ask me, well, what do you do? And then I said once, oh, I work from home. And then they're like, kind of blow it off. What would you say if you feel like, oh, I work from home, but, people don't really see that as a profession, or, so how would you go about that?
I usually say I work from home. I work for a health and wellness company. Have you ever heard of Plexus? And they're like, no, what is that? I was like, well, it's a health and wellness company that focuses on natural health products that really take care of root issues. And I go into a little spill, but I don't really I used to, but I try not to vomit it on them. I just give them a little bit and then stop and see if they'll ask me more questions, because I don't want to be the person that's like, blah, 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 but usually I leave them hanging. I think it was Rosalind Payne. She's a Diamond Ambassador. And she's like, if people ask me something, I'll say, she's like, oh, I work for Plexus, a health and wellness company. And they're like, well, and then sometimes she kind of leaves them hanging just a little bit. And then if they bite a little bit more, she'll give them more information. But so I started trying to practice that, because at the beginning, man, if they asked me, I'm like, okay. So I just I get so excited that I would just vomit it all over them. And I get those little butterflies in my stomach, like, oh, this is so exciting. Someone's asking me about it. But I'm going to refrain myself a little bit more now. It's still.
What would you say? Would you just say I stay home, or would you say I work from home?
I work from home. Because sometimes she had already heard me say I used to be a teacher and I resigned, and it was my opportunity to say it, but I missed it. But usually when people ask me, I say I work from home. I'm able to work from home now because I work for a health and wellness company at home. Just kind of, because it's a career choice. Being a stay-at-home mom is a career in and of itself, but I think we should be proud of the fact that we get to work from home and present it as it's a legit career choice. Be proud of it, be confident.
So true. I think I get a little bit nervous because, a lot of people don't see it that way, and don't see that, you put the time and effort into it too. It doesn't just come to you easily.
Exactly. Yeah, and you get to set your own hours, and I can see where you're coming from. I felt the same way for a while, but I think one of the things that affirmed the fact that the amount I make is a really good amount for stay-at-home mom. It's the goal a lot of people have, to be able to stay at home. On our compensation plan video, Jen Hawkins, I think she's Diamond Sapphire now, she was talking about how when she first started, her goal was to make a certain amount, and she made that, and she was able to stay at home, and it kind of just affirmed that it's legit. There are so many people out there that make a lower minimum wage. I don't know. When I used to work in the hospital, making $12 an hour, $10 to $12 an hour, I would work my butt off, and I would bring home about what I'm making now working from home. So it's I feel confident that it's the right decision, and you should feel confident when people ask you that. I work from home. I work for a health and wellness company. I'm a hope dealer. No, I'm just kidding. So we're talking about, does that answer your question, Flor?
It did. It did. I mean, I know I've seen it in my own income, but it's just kind of like I don't know how to word it. I guess when people ask me. So I just kind of like add them, and I just say I stay home, and then I kind of add them, and eventually they'll see my Plexus post. But I
Yeah.
guess like I want to be able to say like yeah, I work for a health and wellness company. You know,
Yeah.
I just need to practice it more.
Yeah. Well, practice right now.
I work from home with a health and wellness company.
There you go. So what's it called?
It's Plexus Worldwide.
And what kind of products do they have?
It's a natural plant-based products for all over health, and we have probiotics, vitamins, and pink drink.
Nice. See, there you go. You're a natural.
Yeah. I'm still getting used to it. I guess like I'm so used to typing it out, when people
Yes.
actually ask me, but whenever I'm talking about it, it makes me nervous.
Yes. I get
Something
it.
that can really help, I think, is if I was in performance a lot, if you write up a little script for yourself and just constantly repeat it and practice it in a mirror, that might help you kind of get over it because you're talking to somebody. And then you can kind of
True.
see one of the things that it talks about. I think it's later in one of the chapters, but talking about like posture and confidence. And so that's something that you could probably practice in a mirror and just practicing until you feel comfortable and confident with what you're saying. So I think that confidence too is what's going to say, oh, she's a stay-at-home mom and she's like loving it. So just kind of
Yeah.
try to own that.
Yeah, I need to do that. I'm gonna work on that. Yeah, I need to work on that.
So just like your elevator, like they call it your elevator health testimony or whatnot, practice is because they call it elevator because it's just like 30 seconds to a minute. Like it's real quick. So go make your elevator business story, just
What is your elevator testimonial? Because I need to work on that because I didn't have like a big, I don't have a big weight loss testimonial or anything. My thing is the energy, and I had the blood disorder, so I always had migraines. But I just don't feel like people really relate to that, I just feel like, oh, well, you could have taken medicine for that kind of thing. Like they don't really understand it. So I just don't have a elevator testimonial.
I think that's huge. I think what you just said is huge, and people may not automatically relate to it, but I think there's a lot of people dealing with that kind of stuff, and they just don't, because they don't see it outwardly, doesn't mean they're not struggling with it. But there's a great formula for giving your quick, like 5-sentence story that Lauren posted in our team page, and I'll post that in the study group for us, and we can practice writing it out, and then that's something that you can practice saying. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I'll post it.
So,
We're done here. Let me do it myself.
yes, I think that'd be really helpful. For the longest time, I think nobody was really paying attention to me because of the fact that really I only struggled with energy, and I was always just tired. I was I didn't have enough energy to do much, and I was always drinking coffee. But I guess people don't really relate to that as much, or I don't feel like they do. It's kind of like whatever. But if I share like a weight loss thing, then immediately people will write me and stuff. But I hate that because I don't feel like this is a health. I mean, as the weight loss, I don't want to focus on just the weight loss. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't have like an elevator testimonial yet.
Well, we'll get it.
I think one of the big things too is to I hear a lot of, it's not great, it's not going to sound good, but owning it. So if it's helped you, that's what you're connecting with. I've gained so much energy, and really hone in on what's helping you, because it's not necessarily the words, it's how you're presenting it. So it's not about, oh, well, I didn't lose weight, but I've, got some energy. So those buts or those howevers are kind of putting a negative connotation on it. And so if you really focus on what it did for you and how excited you are, and if you do feel that the weight loss is going to make a bigger connection, then give a testimony of a friend really quickly. So it's done this for me, and it's also done this for one of my really good friends, if you want to throw a different spin on it.
Yeah,
that sounds true. I think I just get stuck because of that. Because I feel like people look for weight loss, but it has helped me with weight loss, but it's not my main thing. If it was for the weight loss, I would have quit. And so I think that that's one of the things I really need to work on. I guess like just how I present it or how I word it, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
That's a good point, Eva. And that writing it down first and then practicing it, like she was talking about, is going to be huge for you. And practicing that posture and the confidence that he talks about, that'll be huge. So it was talking about how they build, the professionals build relationships and friendships and offer common sense solutions to people's problems. I think we've already kind of talked about that a little bit. And the only objective is to educate their prospects. And I really like I said earlier, I really like that because we're educating our people, our potentials, and then when there's an opportunity to share with them and, invite them to experience it, then that's our open gate. So I really like how I was talking about standing in your prospect's shoes and what approach would attract you. And to kind of piggyback on what Eva was talking about is if somebody was talking to you about their story, and I experienced this, I've had a couple people tell me, I'll share, but it's not as good as so-and-so's story, and I'll share. And I was like, don't say that. Like that, you're automatically putting whoever you're talking to off. So stand in your prospect shoes. What approach would attract you? What would cause you to put up your defenses if somebody came to you and was like, oh, well, I'm not tired anymore. I haven't lost a lot of weight, but I'm not tired anymore. Like, would that be inviting to you to want to try what you have to offer them? You know what I mean? So what I personally had, it's another company, and she's also she's an ambassador now. But she is my Norwex lady. Have y'all ever heard of Norwex? I love that stuff. And so I met her through another ambassador, and she was doing a party with me. And all she did was invite me to participate in these educational games in her party. Like, hey, come take this quiz and put whatever your cleaning product is and see what grade it would get on the toxicity level scores or whatnot. It was just kind of a lot of information. Like, she was educating me on my cleaning products, and she never once was pushy. She told me her specials, but when I was reading this, I was kind of trying to put myself in my prospect shoes, and I started thinking about situations I've been in with other network marketing companies and how they presented their products to me, and which ones invited me in and educated me and then gave me the decision, and which ones pushed the product on me, and which ones I've responded to. And the ones who invited me in and educated me are the ones I have bought stuff from, the ones that are a household item in my house. So how about y'all? Like, what are y'all thoughts on this?
I have friends in other companies and even with Texas, and it took me a whole year because I'm the kind of person that likes to read on it and takes a while, and I like just give me some information and I'll make up my mind whenever. But if you I don't know, even they've done the voice messages and stuff, and I would just ignore it because I just, I didn't want to be bugged pretty much, and I would never answer, and they would write me again. But it was because it was network marketing, and I just didn't understand it. like I do now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I feel like that's also one of my my mistakes now. I have like whenever I have to follow up, I'm like, oh, maybe this is gonna bug them, But if I feel like if they also said check back in with me, then I still want to check back in. But
Mhm.
I don't want to do it with, like, I'm bugging them, so I just like I'll check in, like commenting on pictures and like just trying to create. If they don't reply to me, my plexus message after they've asked for information, I'll still like stay in touch with them through their like post and trying to connect with them on a more personal level, through their posting and stuff like that, because I don't want to like ask again and again and again like they were doing with me. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So
Yeah.
that's what I do.
I try to find a healthy balance because when sometimes I forget to order my makeup. And I like a little reminder from my consultant wouldn't be so bad. Like, hey, what do you have? Like, do you need anything? Or the chick that told me in Norway, she was like, she messaged me and was like, hey, I'm putting in an order. Did you want to order yet? And I was like, yes, actually I do. But I don't have time to go in and make all the decisions. This is what I want. So she ordered it for me. So like, you just never know when that follow-up is going to strike oh my God, I forgot, here. Yeah, I want to.
I think that's what what I'm kind of lacking on. I need to find a good like follow up system, because right now I just have like index card, and I'll follow in and I'll stay in touch with them, but I don't really know how to I just when you do a sale, like I was a sales rep, and they teach you to close the deal right then and then. So I lack on that area where like I try to close the deal right away, kind of thing. And I'm like, I try not to do that with plexus, but I feel like it's never gonna end. Does that make sense? I don't.
Yeah.
It's like I've done like we used to go to trainings, and that's what they teach us. So for me to go outside of what I've had for so long, it's so hard. It's so hard to like know when to follow up, because I just know how to close the deal right then and then. You ask me questions, okay, let's get going, let's go get your stuff. That's kind of like, how we do sales. And so this is the hardest part for me, the follow up. And, how long do you stay with the prospect? Of course, talking about plexus, maybe they're just not interested. Like I had a couple of people that ask about plexus, then I follow up, I stay in touch with them, and then they go with other companies that are like competitors. I'm like, I'm just not sure where that balance is, because I still stay in touch with them outside of plexus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've had some people do that too.
And so I just like, yeah, I don't know. I think my follow up could be better. I think that's what I think.
So that leads kind of into what kind of tools are you inviting them to, like a tangible tool to invite your prospect? Talking about like a YouTube video, a sample, brochures. Like when you send, do you send that kind of stuff out, and how do you? So, what you're saying is basically what we're going to be talking about anyway. So we can kind of learn together to figure out. Like he's talking about getting the date to follow up with them. That has proven to be helpful for me using this process in the last couple months. Like for example, I need to follow up with my banker because I think was a few weeks ago, and when he told me mid-May, I was like, God, that's so far away. But when I asked, I said, hey, if I give you a sample, would you try it out? And he was like, yeah, actually I have issues with blood pressure, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, this could definitely help. I gave him a little bit of information. I was like, if I give this to you, will you try it? And he said, yes. I was like, okay, when do you think you could try it by? And he was like, well, I'm going out of town. And I had prefaced it with, it's just a little drink. You can drink it tonight if you want to. And he was like, okay. He's like, well, I'm going out of town, but I'll be back mid-May if you want to follow up with me then. I was like, okay, I'll follow up with you mid-May. So if you get a confirmation from them and a commitment, then I think that makes follow-up easier, because I've been playing this guesswork game with a few people right now that are on the fence, and it's so hard. And if I had done this process with them, it would have been more concrete, you know?
I just did that actually
So
because I
when
had a girl ask me like 2 days ago about information, and I followed up with her, I think it was yesterday, asking her for a personal email, and I didn't get it. So I thought, well, how else can I follow up? So I texted her because I didn't want to send her a bunch of texts or phone calls. She wasn't gonna answer the phone. So I just texted her a little while ago, and she responded immediately. I said, "Hey, what time are you free? I'm free tonight if you want to talk tonight." And so she said, "Yeah, not right now, but maybe in a few hours." So I said, "Well, how does 9:30 sound?" She's like, "Yeah, I think that'll work. And if I don't answer, call me back again." So normally I would go about it of just saying, "Hey, do you want to chat?" They say yes. And then I'm like, "Okay, when?" And I kind of bounce back and forth. And so for me just to say, "Does this time work?" versus "Give me all your options," I think that kind of helped. And of course, I'm checking into it right now before because I'm like, oh, okay, I have a schedule. But if it doesn't work, you follow up again.
Yeah, absolutely.
is this warm market y'all are talking about, or is this more like just strangers?
Warm, I would say.
Warm. Oh, okay. Well, see, my warm market, none of them is interested in Plexus. So a lot of the people that I follow up with is people that I've met through source groups. And so then I try to, like, after I talk to them about Plexus, I still try to, like, connect with them, you know, on a personal level. But then when I'll check back in with them, they're like, oh, you know, I haven't had time. And then I'm like, okay, I'll check back with you in a week. And, you know, they don't respond. They don't respond. So maybe, like, I need to find another way with not warm market or something.
Well, even with those situations, it talks about in the book of if they say, well, I don't have time, just say, okay, well, if I send you a video, do you think you'd be able to watch it? And going on with those little questions, because that is on their time, and they talk about it not taking so much distraction from their day. And so I think asking those questions versus, can I follow up next week? Because then you've dropped the possibility.
What do you think are the best videos to send them, like, to a perspective, besides the because most of the people already know what they want, or they tell you. So the product video, or which ones do y'all send out?
It all depends on what their needs are, what their goals are. I always ask them what medical issues they have, what their health goals are, and then it just depends on where they're at. And if they're a person that's kind of their attention span isn't very long, I'll send them a short video. But if there's somebody, like my aunt's a professor at LSU and she wanted more information, so I said, you know what? I said, if you want to procrastinate a little bit more while you're grading papers, here's a short version. And when you have a little more time after finals are over, here's the longer version. So it just depends on. And I'll look on YouTube for videos like Ame Darling. I had one potential that I didn't feel responds. I looked at Jennifer Pickett's videos on YouTube for the first time yesterday, and I'd seen them briefly before, but I was like, oh, her demeanor would probably speak more to this person that I'm about to send something to. So I sent her stuff to her instead of Ame Darling's. And just a matter of kind of like researching YouTube videos and seeing, thinking about your potentials, and I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I've sent, like, written testimonials. So like, someone tells me, like, but like, I have this issue, and then I'm like, okay, I've seen testimonials, so I'll send them one or two, and then they don't reply after the testimonial. So maybe I'm thinking, like, maybe a video would work best.
I have a cousin who has lupus, and I sent her 3 or 4 testimonies I found on YouTube. I watched them all myself just to make sure they were legit. And I sent them to her to watch, and she didn't say anything for a really long time. And then the other day she told me, I'm still watching these videos and looking over the information, because she had referred somebody in my Mother's Day post, and I was like, okay, cool. And then she told me, I was like, by the way, I am reviewing all this information you gave me, because again, I had done that before I read the book, and I didn't set a date to follow up with her. So I was kind of like, what do I do now? And but she was watching them. So you just never know. Like I sorry. I look at the potential and what like if they have a disease, I try to find stuff on YouTube that relates to their situation. But yeah, the video testimonies work sometimes too better than, just depends on who you're talking to. Eva, you're
See, this is what I was telling you. I feel like this is one of the steps I really need to work on setting times and dates. Like, I mean, I know I do follow-ups and stuff, but I don't ever really set a date, and I think that would be really helpful. I think, like, my follow-up system is every Friday I follow up with everybody I've talked to throughout the week, but maybe you know, we could do another thing. I feel like if I put a time where they are ready, then it would be best. So I can get more replies, because sometimes they just don't reply when I follow up on Fridays.
Yeah, you just kind of have to go with what works for your people.
Yeah.
So the physical tool, we already talked about that. Events, they're very important. So we have a big event that is going to be amazing for our big team, Mignon's team. What's her name? Kim's team, but the other
Christy.
What?
Christy.
Yeah, but the other ambassador in Georgetown.
The blonde one.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name
Right now, but anyway, it's huge. That kind of event is kind of what this is talking about, or a sip and see, or if your team does a happy hour, or a Facebook event, just any kind of really a live event is, I think, what they're talking about here, to see firsthand, hear testimonies, see people in person, experience that excitement and that urgency. I know the first meeting I went to was very powerful, and then everyone after that was in just reaffirming my whole belief. And the first time I shared at one, it was just another line in the sand. It's those live events are crucial to our business growth, I feel. And if you get people there and you go, like I have an ambassador. It's like, she signed up. She's like, I'm not ever going to go to a live event. I've been in this before. I'm not that person. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then, but she started going to our happy hours, because that setting she likes better. And every time she comes, she gets a little more encouraged to work her business. So whatever event your people will go to, if they prefer home events, if they prefer a happy hour, if they prefer a big event, everybody's going to like something a little bit different, or they might like them all. I like them all. But just find what might attract your people, and then make it to that event with them. And it'll really help your business. But so we want to figure out how to invite our people. So there's 7 steps. But before that, the emotions of inviting are crucial, and they're not in the workbook. They're not in the study guide, but I wrote them down, and I feel like they're really important. One is emotionally detach yourself. Like, that urgency of getting something on your team might ruin it. If you emotionally detach yourself and remind yourself that you're there to educate, and for education and understanding of your potentials, it's not about us. It's about giving them some information, and then when the time is right, inviting them in. Be yourself, but be your best self. Bring some passion. And have that strong posture that Eva was talking about. Be confident and stop apologizing for what you do. Because that's not going to build at all in our potentials. And I think that's something that we have all done at some point or another. Just not getting past the phase where I apologize to people. And I've had countless people. I'll message them like, look, I'm sorry if I annoyed you with my post. And more times than not, they tell me, stop apologizing. I read every single one, and you should not apologize for what you do. I'm like, okay. So, but those shouldn't be the people telling us to stop. We should be just stopping ourselves. So the 7th step, he was talking about your ability to get a large number of people to consistently do a few things over an extended period of time is where your success is going. So the 7 steps for inviting someone is be in a hurry. And I've noticed that, oh my God, I've talked myself out of so many opportunities with people by staying on Messenger too long with them, chit-chatting too long, like not valuing their time enough. It has lost me a few people. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, I don't know, like I want to connect, but you can still connect, but if you create that sense of urgency and get in and get out, then according to him, you have more success. And I've noticed that too. Like, hey, I value your time. I know you're busy, but here's a little blah, blah, blah. Compliment them. That's huge. Open their mind and their mood to be positive. Make the invitation. Offer a solution they need. Ask for advice or referral. And there's countless little options in there for like warm market, cold market, people you know well, people you don't know well, successful people that you want on your team. There's ways to approach them. Now this part I love the best, and I feel like I probably jump from the other one to this one sometimes because it's easiest for me to remember. If I would you, and I think I'm implementing the first steps too, and it's proving to be a lot more successful. And I think Eva, I think I tried this with you. You were one of the first people I tried this on, and it worked.
I was a test.
No, actually, you were the second person after I read this book. You were the second person that I was working with. And the first person I went through the whole process with, and I did some stuff a little bit too early. But anyway, I think like when I gave some information to you, I was like, if I would you, and then we set up the date, and I got the confirmation from you for the day, for the time. And then it's a little bit later in the book, but he was talking about before you leave your potential set up the next meeting, and I did that with you. So it was just kind of like, I know. But it hurts. But no, I think it's really, you get a real-time commitment. And he was talking about how you ask, you put it on them. Like, if I send you information, would you look it over? Would you try the sample? They say yes. And you say, hold on, let me look at it real quick. It was a very specific way to get them. You haven't set the appointment, they set the appointment. So if they tell you to watch it, so if I call you Wednesday morning, you'll have seen it for sure, right? So like you're getting, hold on.
So like you said, if I give you this, will you try it? Okay, when do you think you'll try it?
Yes. So you're not giving them the time frame. They're making the time themselves. Like, how long do you need to look it over? How long do you need to try it? And then they tell you, and then you say, okay, so I'll call you on Thursday at in the afternoon, like you told your girl. If I call you at 9:30, you'll be good, right? Because she had already given you that time.
Yeah, she said later tonight. But I was like, it's not good enough.
Good enough. Yes. So you get them, you get a confirmation, and then you get the confirmation number 2, confirms it, and the confirmation number 3 schedules the next call. So that's their 4th yes. and then get off the phone, like be done. Like, okay, thank you for your time. Because if you keep chit-chatting, they might wash it all away. So I was going to see if we wanted to practice this tonight, but I think that we've been on for an hour now, and I think that that's probably, we could probably do some role play next time and practice even more. But I think we had some really good discussions tonight and practice some other things that were really important and needed to be done too. So I feel like we had a really good discussion tonight. What do y'all think?
We did. I did. I took a lot of notes.
Good.
So helpful. I'm going to try. Well, I wish I would have done this a few weeks ago when I gave the sample, because now I'm not hearing back from that person I gave the sample to. So I wish I would have, kind of asked her, hey, when can I follow up with you? Or, what day can I check in with you or something? Well, I think it would have helped. But I'm going to do this next time.
Yeah, it'll help for next time for sure. Yeah, I sent the one person that I got from my Mother's Day post. I messaged her and I was like, hey, if I send you a sample and some information, will you try it? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, when's a good time to follow up with you? And she's like, before I try it or after I try it? I was like after you try it? And she's like, she didn't respond. And I was like, And then, hi. And so she still didn't say anything, but I messaged her today and I'm trying to get a confirmation from her. So I don't think it's always going to be perfect. Like you said, we kind of have to play with it. But as long as we get all the steps in there, then we should be good. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording unless y'all have anything else to say. Yay.
Thank you.